Hello, friends, and hello. Welcome to tonight's reading. I have two fun books to read tonight. They're somebody's favorite out there. Everybody loves Curious George, and we're going to read about Curious George's dinosaur discovery, and Curious George at the aquarium. So let's read about the aquarium first. Curious George at the aquarium. Let's see what George gets into this time. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. Today, George and the man with the yellow hat were visiting the aquarium. "George," said the man, "please wait here while I buy the tickets." George tried to wait, but he was so excited. What was inside? He wanted to look over the walls, but they were too high. Just then he heard a splash and a whoosh. Water flew high into the air. People cheered. What could that be? George was curious. He hopped over the gate into the aquarium. How surprised he was. Swimming right in front of George were two beluga whales. The mother and baby beluga whales swam right past him. And not far away was a family of sea lions, diving and splashing. What fun. George noticed people walking toward a big door. Could there be more to see? He followed the crowd. Now, where was he? It was darker inside, and there were fish everywhere. George did not know where to look first. In one tank, there were sharp-toothed piranhas. In another tank, there were seahorses. And in another tank, there was a large red octopus. George saw a group of children across the room. An aquarium staff member was pointing to different sea creatures. This is a starfish, this is a clam, and this is an urchin. Nearby, there was a long, low, colorful tank. It was perfect for touching. George was curious, and he reached his hand into the water, and a large crab came scuttling out from under a rock and right toward his finger. Snap! Ouch! Poor George. He did not like this exhibit. George slipped out a door into the sunlight. But oh, what was going on here? George saw fat, funny-looking black and white fish flying under the water. As he watched, they flew up out of the water. What kind of fish does that? And where did they go? George wondered. George climbed up and into their exhibit. They were not fish at all, but penguins, of course. George hopped like a penguin, flapped his wings like a penguin, and waddled like a penguin. A crowd gathered and laughed, but when he slid on his belly like a penguin, the aquarium staff stopped by to check on the penguins. A monkey in the penguin exhibit? George opened a door to escape, but instead all the penguins ran out. Penguins everywhere. The staff was angry at George. How could they catch all the penguins? In all the excitement, nobody noticed the penguin chick falling into the water. No one but George. The baby penguin hadn't learned to swim yet. As only a monkey can, George scaled the rope hanging over the beluga tank and swung over the water, saving the chick. The director of the aquarium and the man with the yellow hat heard the commotion and came running. "The monkey helped the baby penguin," said a boy in the crowd. "No one else could have saved him," said a girl. The director thanked George for his help and made him an honorary staff member of the aquarium. George said goodbye to his new penguin friends. He could not wait to come back to the aquarium and visit them again. The end. Oh, George. Oh my goodness, curious George. Now to George, Curious George's dinosaur discovery. Let's see what George discovers. This is George. He was a good little monkey and always very curious. George loved to go places with his friend, the man with the yellow hat. One of their favorite places to visit was the Dinosaur Museum. "Today is a special day," George's friend said. "We are going to do something very interesting." George was curious. What could be more interesting than a trip to the Dinosaur Museum? The man with the yellow hat led the way through the museum. George wanted to stop and look at the dinosaur bones, but his friend kept going, so George kept following. Finally, they walked right back out the door. A van was waiting for them outside. "Climb in, George," said the man with the yellow hat. George looked out the window as the van drove off. Where could they be going? At last, the van reached a rocky quarry. Dozens of people were there. Some were digging with shovels, others were using pickaxes or other kinds of tools. "Surprise," George's friend said. "We're going to help the museum scientists dig for dinosaur bones." George was curious. Were there really dinosaurs buried in the quarry? He ran over for a better look. "Hello," said a friendly scientist. "Are you here to help with the dig?" George watched the scientist work. She dug up some dirt and put it into her sifting pan. It took a long time to sift it. And in the end, no dinosaur bones. "Oh well," she said, "time to try again." But the next pan was empty too. So was the next one, and the one after that. George yawned. So far, digging for dinosaurs was not as exciting as he expected. George was curious. Could he help to find dinosaur bones? He found a spare shovel lying nearby. He dug and dug, but he didn't find any dinosaurs. When he climbed out of his hole, George spotted another scientist. He was dusting something with a small brush. "Oh well," the scientist said, "it's not a bone, just a rock." George wanted to help. He picked up a brush and went to work. But it turns out that monkeys are not very good at dusting. As he hurried away from the cloud of dust, George bumped into a wheelbarrow. Maybe there were dinosaur bones in it. He climbed up to look inside, but the wheelbarrow was awfully tippy. Crash! George, the wheelbarrow, and a whole lot of dirt went flying. "Hey," someone cried, "what's that monkey doing?" George scampered away, straight up the cliff. Monkeys are good at climbing, so George kept going higher and higher. When he got to the top, he accidentally knocked a stone over the edge. The stone hit another stone, which hit another stone, and another stone. Oh no, it was a rock slide. The man with the yellow hat called for George to come down. George wanted to climb down, but he was afraid that the scientist would be angry with him. But the scientist didn't look angry. "Look," one cried, pointing. "Look what the monkey just uncovered." George could hardly believe what he saw. Dinosaur bones. After that, the dinosaur dig was even more fun. George helped the scientist dig and sift and dust and take photographs of the bones he had found. And the next time he and the man with the yellow hat visited the Dinosaur Museum, George got to see his dinosaur on display. Georgeosaurus. Oh, that was cute. Cool, George. Curious George's dinosaur discovery, and Curious George at the aquarium. Which one was your favorite? I personally love aquariums. I love going to different aquariums, but I like dinosaurs too. Well, thank you for following Curious George's dream this evening. Thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you next time. Bye.